Let's talk about projection for just a minute. Not like in a clinical way and not like in a let me explain psychology to you way, but like in a real life, my own lived experience way. Because projection shaped my identity for a long time, and I didn't even know that's what was happening to me. Projection is basically when someone takes their own feelings, insecurities, or unprocessed stuff and places it onto someone else, and then treats that person like it belongs to them. And most of the time, it's not intentional. It happens when someone doesn't have the capacity to sit with what's inside themselves. So instead of saying, I feel uncomfortable, they instead say, you're difficult. Instead of saying, I feel threatened, they instead say, you're arrogant. Instead of saying, I don't want to look at my own behavior, they say, you're the problem. When projection happens once or twice, it's confusing. But when it happens consistently, especially when you're young, it can actually form your identity. That's what happened to me. My sense of self wasn't discovered, it was assigned. I was told who I was through other people's perceptions, reactions, and unresolved emotions. And because those messages came from authority figures, family, relationships, and systems, I believed them. I thought I was too sensitive, too much, too difficult, intimidating, or wrong in some vague, unfixable way. But none of that came from direct experience with myself. It came from repetition of narratives, other people's narratives, placed onto me. And that's one of the most important things to understand about projection. Repetition can feel like truth, even when it isn't, especially if you're perceptive, especially if you're empathic, and especially if you learned early on to read the room, manage emotions, or keep the peace. People like that become emotional mirrors, and mirrors attract projection. Because when someone doesn't want to see themselves clearly, the mirror becomes the threat. So they distort it. They label it. They assign meaning to it. And over time, you internalize those meanings and think, this must be who I am. But here's the truth that I have finally come to understand. Confusion about who you are doesn't mean you lack self-awareness. Sometimes it means you were too aware of everyone else. It means your nervous system was tuned outward for survival. So if you're in a season of unlearning, if you're realizing that a lot of what you believed about yourself feels off, that's not a failure, that's clarity emerging. One question that helped me start separating projection from truth was this: did I come to this belief about myself through lived experience or through narrative repetition? Did I actually observe this in my behavior, or was it something I was told, implied, or treated as over and over again? That question alone can loosen years of misidentification. Because projection isn't healed by arguing with it, it's healed by returning to your own direct experience, by noticing what feels true in your body, by paying attention to what expands you versus what constricts you, by allowing yourself to exist without performing for someone else's comfort. Unlearning projection isn't about proving people wrong. It's about gently removing what was placed on you and seeing what's left. And what's left might surprise you. Because underneath the labels, the roles, the misunderstandings, there's usually a much steadier truth that was there all along. If this resonates with you, maybe you're remembering who you really are, and that is a powerful place to be.